Howdy, LA Pipe Smoker back with you. I think it's been about 10 months since I've made my last video, and a lot of things have happened in the last year or so. Probably the most notable was my father passed away September 26th last year, and sort of ran out of steam, wasn't really kind of enthusiastic about making videos. I think I probably was a little depressed, which one would expect after the passing of one's father. And life just got in the way. I continued to watch other people's videos though, kind of stay connected to the YTPC. And so trying to think of what kind of brought me back. Well, one, today I have a little bit of time. I'm headed out of town today to go up to Asilomar, which is near Monterey, California, for a conference. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be today and tomorrow. I'm coming back Sunday. And plan on taking my pipe with me. Maybe I was waiting for something to say and some kind of content to deliver. And as I was looking around at the people's videos whom I enjoy, it seemed to me the ones that I kind of gravitated towards were the ones that didn't necessarily have anything of any great substance in the way of a presentation. You know, discussing pipe tobacco, discussing pipes, things like that. I wasn't so much interested in that as I was just in their company and just in being able to hear a friendly voice and to maybe share a pipe. Looks like this pipe has gone out like 4 or 5 times, but it's not the pipe's fault, I can tell you that. It's, well, might as well get back into the swing of things. This is a Blatter. It's a Montreal-made pipe. Really quite beautiful. You can see the grain of the pipe is quite close, and it's very light. It also has a lucite stem, and I favor lucite stems because they're a good grip, and I really enjoy that. So touted this one out today, and probably will be smoking this one up on the road. It's about a 5.5 hour drive up there, and so I'll be getting out of here fairly soon. In a long drive like that, I like to put on some music and just smoke my pipe. It's a wonderful time just to think and meditate and relax, and I'm really looking forward to the trip. A couple things that have been on my mind recently. One is I've been teaching now for about 32 years, and it's really the first time I've thought that, you know, probably not too far down the road I'm going to be retiring, and kind of thinking about the whole concept of retiring. On October 3rd of this year came the anniversary of the death of 6 students whose class I was in college, and they were killed in a horrible traffic accident in upstate New York right around the time of homecoming. And you know, I don't normally think about it every year, but for some reason, maybe because of the death of my father, I was thinking about the death of those students, and then it occurred to me that would they have lived, they would have been similarly positioned probably in their careers to start thinking about retirement too, and how all of that was taken away from them, and they never really had that kind of a life, and made me appreciate my life even a little bit more. The other thing was kind of, for the first time, I've had to take medication. So the doc has put me on, hold on, I'll tell you what the doc has put me on. I know people who are on medication usually know the name of it. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. But for the sake of the record, let me, just excuse me for a second, and I'll leave you humming to yourself while I'm away momentarily. Okay, here it is. Lisinopril, 5 milligrams So it's for high blood pressure. My blood pressure's been high, and yes, I know that smoking tends to raise one's blood pressure, but I actually did a little bit of research into that, and while it may, in the moment, raise your blood pressure a little bit, in the long term, believe it or not, pipe smokers overall have lower blood pressures, maybe because it's the ability to relax. And it's not universally true that just after smoking my pipe, my blood pressure goes up, because I've smoked my pipe and then taken my blood pressure, and my blood pressure is fine. So this is something which I really enjoy, and it's not something that I'm going to kid you and say that it's the healthiest thing that you can do for yourself. But like anything in life, you manage your risks. You do things that are risky every single day, but you balance them out with the desire, the pleasure they give, along with the possibility of not having them, against how great the risk is. So every adult's entitled to do that, to balance their risks. I've been a pilot since 1989, and now with blood pressure medication, I'm going to have to put that on hold a little while. But flying is another good example of managing your risks. It can be considered a fairly risky thing, I suppose, depending upon your level of proficiency. But those risks are managed, and so it's acceptable. It's a type of thing that you can make a decision about. So I think that smoking a pipe, although it carries risks, at least for me, and probably for you since you're watching a pipe video, is more than worth it. Got this hint from the Seattle Pipe Club. I read an article, a doctor who also smokes a pipe recommended kind of cleansing the mouth with cool liquid, in this case water, as a way to kind of keep the tobacco residue out of your mouth. I suppose that's one way to mitigate the risk. Another is to use a pipe filter, but and I do have some pipes with pipe filters in them. Enjoy that as well. But what I really enjoy is a good briar pipe with no pipe filter, and that's only for myself. I know a lot of people enjoy pipes different ways, and that's one thing. If you're new to this, go with your own taste. What tastes good to you doesn't have to taste good to anybody else. The kind of pipe you like, you just have to get out there and explore. Get yourself a cheap pipe, see what it's like. Maybe spring for a more expensive pipe. Learn the technique. Light your pipe, smoke it. If it works for you, it works for you. Not too fussy about these things. Couple of people I've been watching within the last few days. Matches 860. I think everybody in the world watches Matches 860. Always a nice time to spend with him. Looks like he's altered his format as of a few months ago. He's now taking walks, going out more into nature. I think that's a good thing to do. A little closer to the kind of the Bremen pipe smoker guy who is in Germany and goes out on these hikes and stuff. Always fun to drop in with his videos as well. Another person I've caught up with is Northwest pipe smoker, or Northwest piper. Anyway, I think his name is John, and he's a really great guy. He likes custom builts, kind of no frills pipe smoking type of guy, a very straight shooter, and it's enjoyable listening to his meditations. He sort of gave me the permission, in a sense, that I can just talk about everyday, ordinary things and relax and not have to do reviews and things like that. I suppose I could do some reviews, but I don't find that nearly as engaging as listening to somebody just ramble for a few minutes. And I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I think if you've ever thought about having your own YouTube channel or presenting, probably the most important thing is just be yourself. Be conversational. Do what you want to do. If you want to try, doing pipe reviews or doing tobacco reviews, that's fine. My friend Lawn Smoke, he he does all sorts of different things. And of course, the reason why I watch him is because he's just a nice guy. He's enjoyable to listen to. So I think that if you're thinking about making that kind of jump, I say go ahead and do it. You know, it's a lot of fun. It broadens out the community. There is one thing I would like to plug, though. It's the Breyer Report TV. On that, they have a listing of all the YTPC YouTube channels out there. Some of them obviously switch around from time to time. But if you get a chance, head over there. It's a great kind of clearinghouse of all sorts of things related to pipes and pipe smoking. I think one of the things that have been popping around the media lately is the whole vaping thing, and some people are worried in California that we're going to lose our ability to buy flavored pipe tobacco. As I read it, I don't think that's actually the case. I think it's just the flavors for the vaping that are in peril. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legislator. But I'm not too worried about it. So if I need to, I will get in my Special Forces uniform, rent a helicopter, and smuggle it into California if I need to supply. But I generally don't smoke a lot of pipe tobacco that is heavily flavored. So I tend to shy away from the aromatics a little bit, although there is one aromatic that I was smoking this summer. Just going to give you a little preview of it. Summerhill by John Aylesbury. And it's a really nice, it's kind of a black Cavendish, and it's really quite good. I found that the pipe tobacco, I'll let you see what it looks like here. I found that his pipe tobacco, Aylesbury, is kind of heavily aromatic. I mean, in a good sense, kind of fruity. And I haven't noticed a lot of difference among the different brands that I've smoked. I believe I smoked the 40 anniversary, and then this, and they're both very similar, and they're both very pleasant as well. I enjoy that. Today I'm smoking Squadron Leader, an old favorite, and it's always nice to have the government remind me that this contains nicotine, and that nicotine is an addictive chemical. What would I do without my government helping me understand these things? I would just be subject to all sorts of difficulties. Speaking of the government accommodating the mediocre, what I found really interesting most recently is a podcast that discusses aircraft accident investigations. A guy named Firth, I think his name is. He's a former NTSB guy, and then another guy. They have a podcast, and they were kind of discussing the whole 737-800 MAX and how Boeing is being asked to make accommodations for pilots that are really unskilled and should not be flying a plane to begin with. Make a very good argument. Obviously, I'm not a 737 MAX pilot and expert, but I stayed in a Holiday Inn last night. No. I have a friend who flies for United, who used to fly the 800 Maxes, and hasn't really had any problems. A lot of these problems that crop up, the Egypt Air, or the Ethiopian Air, I think it was, and the other air disaster, I'm trying to remember, Lion Air, both 737 MAX. The problems they had with the planes occurred in a really critical phase of flight, which is takeoff. Probably the most dangerous phase of the flight is takeoff. Still low to the ground. Looked like both crews had problems disconnecting or did not disconnect the auto throttles, which made them overspeed, and things kind of, the wheels kind of came off the wagon from there. And basically, the podcast was saying it looks like it was more of a, oh, my cat. Hello, Lucy. Did you want to come back over here? Yes, you're just checking things out. Okay. So it looks to me as if probably had a little bit to do with training. The first officer in the Lion Air, Frith, was talking about said he only had 200 hours in the United States to be a first officer on a type-rated aircraft, commercial aircraft. You need, I think, at least 1,500 hours. I think that came about after Colgan Air. So 200's, that's not a lot. You know, that's a pretty low-time guy. And flying in a jet in the right seat, there's not a whole lot of experience there. And so that might have contributed to it. At any rate, you know, when you're flying and all the bells and whistles are going off, it can kind of give you a little bit of an impediment to making clear-headed decisions unless you've been trained. And one of the things that they were presumably trained on is what's called a runaway stab trim. They shut off the stab trim and then re-engaged it when they realized they couldn't manually handle the stabilizer trim because they were going too fast or in overspeed. And so they apparently re-engaged it. At any rate, I'm getting too technical, and if you're not a pilot, your eyes have probably glazed over and you've probably switched the channel. At any rate, I just wanted to check in. A little bit of my rambling and talking, taking up your valuable time that you'll never get back. But I did feel like I needed to make a video, kind of get back in the game, and hopefully I'll be a little more regular, and I look forward to stopping by, and hopefully you'll have a video up soon. But from Los Angeles, the LA Pipe Smoker, wishing you a wonderful afternoon and a great weekend, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.